Hello everyone. One problem that exists with generative AI in higher education is the problem of ethics. Even after almost 4 years of generative AI being here with us, higher education haven't actually figured out what should be the ethics of using generative AI. And this is a developing field. Now it happens because of two very important reasons. One reason is that generative AI literacy among professors in higher education is very low. But the second and very important reason is that we actually have a distorted understanding of generative AI. Today, there are a lot of seminars and discussion going on about generative AI. And many of the speakers who come and talk about generative AI in this kind of discussion have not experimented with generative AI extensively themselves. Yes, they know what generative AI is, they know the tools, they know how to use generative AI, but then again, knowing the tool and then knowing how to use this tool is not same as generative AI literacy. And that is why today in higher education, we are still debating and discussing about questions like this. The first thing that we discuss is, whenever we are using generative AI, there should always be this human element. You see, the question here is not about having a human element. The question here is about skill. The second thing that we discuss in higher education is that, we need to know when students should use generative AI and when students shouldn't use generative AI. The question here is not about when students should or when students shouldn't. It is about how. Because generative AI needs to be implemented in all stages of teaching and learning process. The third thing that we talk about in higher education is that we say, research shows that generative AI leads to cognitive decline in students. You see, as educators, our work is not to blame the technology and the students. Our work is to give students the skill to use this technology such that it will not lead to cognitive decline. And that is why higher education will continue to have hard time coming out with a good ethics of using generative AI in higher education, teaching, learning process, and in research. If you have any questions, please put it in the comment section. I'll address it in the upcoming reel.